for anyone who was in drama in high school can relate to the behind-the-scenes drama. It doesn't matter if it's the set of an HBO series or the set of your old high school's musical. Get enough performers together and you're bound to have some drama, no matter what. From the content or the actors present, can you guess which shows have the most drama behind the scenes? Keep watching. We'll be talking about a few of the shows we know with the most production of drama behind the dramatic production. Of course, it isn't just that a bunch of actors is in one place that causes drama. Any group stuck together under stressful deadlines and heightened emotions will get into the occasional squabble. Often, these are arguments of passion. One actor may correct another with goodwill and then inadvertently start a problem. The crew is not totally blameless. They are also packed into a small space with the cast, and everyone must learn to work together. This is why so many actors go on to become close friends with co-stars, but sometimes the opposite happens. Which shows do you think will appear on our list? Let us know if you called any of them before they were mentioned here. First, we have the critically acclaimed comedy series, Community. This one may be a bit of a shock since the actors on the show have such amazing chemistry. However, behind the scenes, actor Chevy Chase was famously disapproving of the series. He and writer Dan Harmon got into a few arguments during their growing disapproval of each other. Chase describes this disagreement as a matter of conflicting creative differences. Unfortunately, Chase wound up leaving the series and not on good terms. He did not like the writing of his character. He did not like the Harmon style of production. And finally, he had enough and he left. After the actor left the show, it came out from Donald Glover, co-star, said that Chase was his source of conflict behind the scenes. He had been making racist jokes behind the scenes. Well, it sounds like this arrangement would have never worked. Chevy Chase and Dan Harmon were never going to get along, and Chase seems honestly out of place on the set of such a progressive show. As a follow-up, we will bring up a program that most of you probably guessed as part of this list, Doctor Who. As it turned out, one of the actors who played the Doctor has been blacklisted by the BBC. The ninth Doctor, Christopher Eccleston, had a short-lived career on the show. He's been quite open about disliking the conditions on set, citing problems with the working environment. Most of the actors who have played this role remain very involved in the show, often joking in the social media conversation or giving interviews about their experiences on set. But Eccleston is the exception. He has not been shy about accusing the show's producer, Russell T Davies, of doing nothing to stop BBC when they blacklisted him. At this point, Eccleston had already been having problems with Davies and announced that he would never work with him again, which is probably why Davies allegedly did nothing to protect the ex-Doctor. Lots of us who grew up in the 90s will remember the phenomenal fantasy series, Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Buffy was a brave, young, attractive woman who flipped the script from the typical plot lines of monster kills the pretty girl to pretty girl kills the monster. The show grew popular very quickly, and the show is still loved by fans today. However, did you know that Joss Whedon ruled over the set with an iron fist? We didn't. The story hadn't broken until a few years ago, but when it came out, boy, it turned heads. As it turns out, Whedon had a trail of failed productions behind him, probably due to his inappropriate behavior on set. He was known to pick favorites amongst the cast, creating a hostile and competitive working environment. He was also known to manipulate situations on set to upset his actors to create a more dramatic cut of the scene they were working on. It has also been reported to have potentially abused some people on set. It didn't stop there. Whedon was also so controlling with his staff that he reportedly snapped at actor Charisma Carpenter, who had become pregnant while filming the show. That's a big yikes. We sincerely hope that anyone affected by this disgusting man is alright now. Fans' thesis, Batwoman. Will fans be aware that the show recasts its star? But did you know the story behind this switch? Ruby Rose, the lead of the show Batwoman, apparently quit at the same time Warner Bros. Started to shout for her termination. Warner Bros. States that Rose's behavior on set was inappropriate and refuted her claims, stating that she was being let go due to being difficult to work with. That's not the whole story though. Allegedly, Ruby Rose watched someone on set suffer a terrible injury that led to their paralysis, and Ruby herself had suffered a spinal injury on set. She accused the network of unsafe working conditions. The history of complaints about Rose's bad behavior seems dubious at best. No one has confirmed any reports of bad behavior from the Australian performer. Whatever the truth is, it is clear that behind the scenes, this show was nothing but hostile. Another entry that probably will not come as a shock is in the city. Fans have been aware of a supposed disagreement between Sarah Jessica Parker and Kim Cattrall, both lead characters in the dramedy series. While the details are unknown, it has finally come out that fans were correct about one thing: the two actors do not get along. News of this story broke as recently as 2018, when Kim Cattrall dragged Sarah Jessica Parker on social media for trying to talk to her. It seems as though money was a core problem between the two actors on set. They were highly competitive, each trying to top the other's salary. Things on set got so tense that the production began to suffer when the two began ignoring each other, except while actually in a scene together. The in the City movie production suffered from this age-old feud, and it certainly doesn't seem either will crack at this point. Perhaps Sarah would have eventually, but now that Cattrall has retaliated, we doubt it will happen again. Next, we will discuss Game of Thrones. This show has a horrible reputation for being an unsafe environment due to its many injuries on set. The drama was very much just the fear that someone would get hurt. Actors on the show did seem to get on very well, and many of them remain friends. Some of the more notably unsafe conditions included a scene that involved a newborn baby placed on an actual block of real ice. Another time, an actor, Hannah Waddingham, was legitimately waterboarded for hours. Most fans would agree that these scenes did not have to be made in the way they were, and many fans were upset with the studio for putting the actors in such danger. Another example of a show that will surprise no one is Roseanne, specifically the reboot that never got made. The original series was also tense behind the scenes, mostly due to the aggressive nature of Roseanne Barr. The revival of the show was no different. Roseanne Barr barely made it one season into the revival before getting fired for a racist tweet. Barr made a racist joke about President Barack Obama's former advisor, Valerie Jarrett. Fans and critics of the show banded together after that tweet, and unfortunately, no one was sad to see Barr be let go from the revival. Now that she was gone, the producers had to change the program's name to The Connors, which settled into a spin-off about the rest of the characters. Before we get on to the final entry on the list, we have a few more shows that didn't quite cut, but we wanted to give honorable mentions to. Star Lea Michele famously bullied the cast of Glee. Most of us already know the details of the story, and the story of Charlie Sheen's departure from 2.5 Men. These will be stories for another day. Finally, we will discuss number 1 on our list, Star Trek. Some of you may not be surprised, but we were sure when we first heard about how tense things were behind the scenes between William Shatner and the rest of the cast. Sure, he had some scenes of goofy acting, but he was a nice guy, right? Not. Many of his coworkers have accused him of hogging screen time. Frankly, none of the others were shy about saying it like it was. There seemed to be a lot of discomfort on set, although most details remain unknown. It is rumored that most of the cast has since come to forgive Shatner, many decades later. What do you think? Did you know about all these strange stories from behind the scenes of popular television shows? We would love to hear your thoughts down below. Please let us know what your list looks like.